Hello and welcome to your Fantasy Premier League one-stop shop. I'm your host Stephen Gallagher, world number 3 in points totals over the past 3 seasons. Today we're going to be looking at all the key points for Game Week 10, who to buy, who to sell, fixtures to target, captaincy and more. Let's get straight into it, starting with some injury news. Starting with Arsenal, Arteta said Gabriel's knee injury is not serious, but that it's still too early to know how long he'll be out for. Apparently his scans showed no significant damage to any ligaments, but there's still some swelling around the knee, so he'll probably miss a game or two at least, I'd guess. On other Arsenal news, Urian Timber is fit and Calafiori is out for a few weeks. Luke Shaw suffered a setback in his recovery from a calf injury. Big Ange said Son is fit and they're aiming for this weekend's game with him. Lewis Dunk got injured in the warm-up against Wolves and is out for 3 to 4 weeks, unfortunately. McNeil was subbed off with an injury and was replaced by Branthwaite, who's being eased back in from his injury. Uncertain how bad McNeil's injury is. He did go down off the ball, which is never a great sign, but he did also walk off, so nothing too conclusive there. Eddie Howe said Anthony Gordon has been for a scan after an injury in training on Friday, and there's still a chance he could play in the League Cup fixture midweek. Diogo Jota will be out until Game Week 12 at the earliest with a suspected rib fracture. And finally, Chris Wood came off late against Leicester but said himself it was nothing bad. The next key point is that Man United have sacked Ten Hag and they didn't take long in finding a replacement. They've already triggered the 10 million release clause for Ruben Amorim, Sporting Lisbon's coach. He said yes to Man United, so it's only a matter of time. But how does this impact us from an FPL point of view? The first thing I looked at is formation. What formation does Amorim play? And he likes the 3-4-3 or more of a 3-4-2-1 where the two wide forwards play as attacking mids, similar to what Glasner plays at Palace and what Gary O'Neill plays at Wolves. I think it'll be very interesting to see who plays where in this system for Man United. I believe Højlund will play up top with Bruno, one of the attacking mids, and one of Garnacho or Xerxes, the two attacking mids behind him. What happens to Rashford then? I'm not sure. Maybe he does play in that attacking mid role, we will see. And then Dalot and Mazraoui will be the wing backs. I think that'll also be very interesting. Wing backs always very interesting from an FPL point of view because they get forward a lot more. But this 3 at the back formation may expose Man United to more defensive issues. I think it's a wait and see, but to give you my opinion, I think that Man United will finally start scoring more goals. This is a very attacking formation and I think that it suits the players and the playing style of these players that we have already, especially Bruno Fernandes, who in my opinion has been woefully misused under Ten Hag. He's been dropping deep, he's been helping progress play when he should be playing more attacking, getting on the half turn and finding those runs in behind that Højlund's making. I know Bruno has had a rough start to the season so far. He ranks first for expected goal involvement under performance, which means he's not been finishing his chances and his teammates have definitely not been finishing the chances that he's been creating for them. So let's hope that changes for him under this new management. Next up is defenses to target using the fixture difficulty ratings from FPL Optimized. These are the defensive fixture ratings ranking the easiest upcoming fixtures for defenders over the next 6 game weeks. Wolves ranking top here. They have been poor defensively, but this man Aitner keeps popping up with attacking returns. They've had a really tough run of fixtures and now they've got a sea of green fixtures coming up. One thing to note though is that Aitner is on 4 yellows and if he gets a 5th then that's a 1-game ban and that ban resets in game week 19 I believe, and I don't think he'll make it until then without a yellow, so worth keeping in mind there. But if you're getting a Wolves defender then this is the man that you want. Man United have great upcoming fixtures, especially from game week 11 to 13 with Leicester at home, Ipswich away and Everton at home. I think with Amorim coming in, implementing this wing back role, it only makes Man United defenders more appealing. Dalot and Mazraoui are who I'd expect to play the wing back roles, but Amorim has been known to put wingers in those positions too before, so don't be surprised if you see Garnacho or Rashford or Amad Diallo playing there anytime soon. But for now I would expect these two lads to slot in, and with these nice fixtures coming up it could be a good shout to lock them into your team. Fulham have improved massively defensively this season. They've been really solid at the back, ranking 6th for expected goals conceded. I think Robinson is the one to go for from Fulham. It is worth noting however that the Fulham defenders have not been attacking as much as you'd like them to from an FPL perspective, but Robinson is the most attacking defender for Fulham. For his price, with Fulham's defensive data and these upcoming fixtures, I think he's a great pick. Liverpool's next 3 fixtures are very nice. I see a lot of people selling Trent Alexander-Arnold, I'd imagine to fund more money into the midfield. And that means he's dropped in price back to 7 mil. I understand the thought process, but Liverpool have been the best defence this season, the most clean sheets, the least goals conceded, and the best expected goals conceded in the league. And he's the most attacking defender for them. And based off expected data, the most attacking defender in the whole league. So the most attacking defender playing for the best defence seems like a bit of a no-brainer. But the question is he worth the 7 million? And it's a lot of money to pay for a defender. And he has been underperforming his expected goal involvement, but I think he will punish the sellers massively in these next 3 game weeks. If you still don't want to invest that much in a defender, but want a slice of that Liverpool defence, then Konate is a cheaper route into that defence, and his minutes look fairly secure now. Next up is Attacks to Target, looking at the best fixtures from an attacking perspective over the next 6 game weeks. Wolves ranking first here. They don't have the best underlying data in terms of goal threat. They rank 4th for expected goals per 90 so far this season. But as I mentioned before, they've played against some really tough opposition. If you want to take a punt and go for a Wolves attacker, then I'd look at one of these 2 lads. Cunha would be my preference based off his historical data and this season's data too. But if budget is an issue, then Strand Larsen could be a great cheap enabler for this fixture run. In 3rd place is Brentford. I shouted out these 2 lads last week and they both came back with 2 goals each. I think it's an exciting time to own a Brentford attacker, especially with this fixture run, and I think the double up on these 2 players could be very strong. Mbumo is coming close to essential at his price and with his returns so far, and then at 5.9 million, Wissa is a great option for this fixture run. Next up is Man United again. I mentioned already the new manager coming in and how this formation should impact the Man United players. These are the 2 guys I think will be most affected by the change of scenery, and I expect them to create a much better connection together going forward. Still, a lot remains to be seen for Manchester United, but I'm hopeful on these 2 getting more attacking returns, especially in this nice fixture run. Fulham have good upcoming fixtures and some really nice budget options in Raul Jimenez and Adama Traore, both putting up really impressive data for expected goal involvement, and Fulham in general just look a much improved side. 2 very viable options here, and they won't break the bank. I'd look at getting them in for this fixture run. Lastly, Crystal Palace have a nice run of games coming up. Eze got another attacking return with an assist against Spurs last week, and he's dropped down to 6.7 million. I know he's been poor this season, and Crystal Palace have been really struggling at the moment. They've scored the least goals of any team, only 6 goals in 9 games. But with these fixtures and at this price, I'd fancy a punt on Eze. He's the main man for them, and if Glasner can get Palace to click again, then Eze will be at the centre of that. Next up, I'm going to do a run through of all the best performing players in each position statistically. For defenders, we're looking at expected goals conceded against non-penalty expected goal involvement. We're looking for players in the top right, as they not only play for teams conceding the least chances, but are also creating a lot of chances themselves. Trent is the standout here, no surprises there. He's got the best expected goal involvement of any defender, and Liverpool have been great defensively. We can see Robertson below him there, not putting up the same attacking numbers, but still in a good defence and relatively good attacking data. Porro also showing up well here, as well as Ait Nouri. He ranks 2nd for expected goal involvement, but in a relatively poor defence based off Wolves' expected goals conceded. Diogo Dalot, a new addition to this plot after the chances he got last week against West Ham, although he did miss an open net. So we're going to keep an eye on this chart as the season progresses and we get more data, because as things stand, 9 games is good but not great. Let's move on to the midfielders. We're looking at price against non-penalty expected goal involvement. Cole Palmer well and above the rest of the premium midfield options, with Salah just below, and then Saka and Son, the other premium options, close by each other there. In the mid-priced options, Bruno Fernandes, Luis Diaz, Mbeumo, Maddison and Brennan Johnson all standing out. And in the budget options, Semenyo is top of the bunch, followed by Adama, Rodgers and Garnacho joining the plot this week. Onto the forwards, with Haaland so far on the right of this plot, the rest of the forwards are a bit bunched up, so I remove him from the analysis to get a better perspective on the other options. Nicholas Jackson is the pick of the bunch, and after him, it's a mixed bag. As you can see, the lower priced options are putting up similar numbers to the more premium forwards. Welbeck, Wissa and Raul are all on par with the likes of Havertz, Watkins, Solanke and Isak. I think going forward, a forward line of Haaland, Jackson and one of those budget forwards looks to be the best option. On to captaincy this week, and I've gone Salah number 1. I think Liverpool will put a few past Brighton this game. I'm expecting at least 3 goals from Liverpool, and whenever Liverpool score, you expect this man to be involved. He's my number 1 captain pick, followed by Erling Haaland against Bournemouth away. Only 1 goal in the past 4 games for Haaland, but I don't expect that streak to last very long. I think he'll put a few past Bournemouth. I'm expecting maybe 2 goals from him this weekend. In third, I have Darwin Núñez. Like I said, I expect Liverpool to score, and with Jota out, this man will play up front for them. I think he'll get on the end of a few chances, no doubt. Then I have Cole Palmer against Man United away. This guy is on fire, and it's very hard to look past him. I know Man United will have that new manager bounce, and they'll be looking for a result at Old Trafford, but I think Cole Palmer will ruin that parade. And finally, I have a third Liverpool player. Not only do I think Liverpool will score a few against Brighton, I think they'll keep a clean sheet. And this lad, Trent Alexander-Arnold, has the option to get points from both that clean sheet and some potential attack and returns. I think he punishes the sellers with a big score this weekend. On to my Game Week 9 review. We have 61 points all out, a Game Week rank of 3.3 million, a second consecutive red arrow for me, down to 635k overall. Only 4 of my players returned: Henderson, Mbeumo, Wood and Haaland. My transfers from last week went horribly wrong. I did Saka to Foden since Saka was a bit of an injury doubt and he is playing Liverpool. And then Saka goes and scores in the first 10 minutes. And then Foden does absolutely nothing against Southampton at home. I also did Jota to Johnson, who didn't do anything. So overall, a net negative points on my 2 transfers from last week. The worst part about this game week was the defence. Konsa was on 9 points until Bournemouth scored in the 96th minute, wiping away Konsa's clean sheet and all his bonus points. And then the same happens to Robinson. He got a clean sheet and bonus, and then Fulham concede in the 94th minute, wiping away all the points. So that was a massive swing against my favour. A tough pill to swallow, but we move on to next week. On to my Game Week 10 plans. As you can see, I've got 3 mil in the bank and 1 free transfer. My plan is to wildcard in Game Week 12, so any transfer I make now is just for the next 2 game weeks. Looking at my team, Gabriel is an injury concern. If he doesn't play, then I have Konsa against Spurs to come on, which I'm not a fan of. I really don't like the fact that I've triple Aston Villa as they play Spurs and Liverpool away in the next 2 game weeks. So I'm seriously considering ditching one of my Villa players, but I'm not sure if I want to sell Rodgers because I've got money tied up in him, and if I sell him then buy him back on wildcard, then I'd lose 0.2 mil. Also, I'm able to bench Rodgers for Semenyo next week, so selling Rodgers isn't the top of the list for me. But if I did sell him, I'd have 8.2 mil, which is exactly enough for Bruno Fernandes, who plays Chelsea then Leicester, both at home in the next 2. So I'd be lying if I said that didn't cross my mind. Or I could go for Luis Diaz or a Maddison and triple up on Spurs. Alternatively, I could do Konsa to Trent, whose next 2 are Brighton and Villa at home. So I like the look of that. And I could also do Watkins to Darwin since Jota is out, which sounds crazy, but I like the sound of that with Liverpool's next 2. I'm not 100% decided yet, but if you want to see where I land, follow me on Twitter at FPL Gallagher. That's all for today, folks. Go ahead and drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, have a good one.